The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's August the 3rd, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day, presented as always by LifeWallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health. And Matt, big day for us yesterday. We went out to Media Day, and man, it's Team No Sleep for sure. I know I'm feeling a little weary this morning. I think between the two of us, we did like 30 interviews, and now we got to figure out how to fit all this content onto the website in the next few days. It'll be interesting. So our advice to you guys this morning is visit CaneSport.com frequently here over the next several days, because we are going to have a ton of stuff for you to check out, and it's really, really good. I mean, Matt, let me start there. I was blown away by the quality of the interviews that we were able to get yesterday. A lot of them were one-on-ones, which helps because we're able to control the interview and guide the conversation where we want it to go. But let's start with one of the stories that's on the website right now, and that's defensive coordinator Kevin Steele. And I thought he was just absolutely candid, raw, and unbelievable. And I love his line where, "Hey man, you just push 911 when you need us, and we'll be there."
Well, I think he just got a little slap happy because I wouldn't stop asking him questions. A lot of that was just me talking to him because honestly, I gave you all the other assistants. I said, I'm just going to be with Kevin Steele and Josh Gaddis. And I really wound up just with Kevin Steele because, I mean, how can you not want to be with Kevin Steele?
Yeah,
he's my age.
I had Gaddis under control, man. I had he and I had a nice little convo.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, but no,
and
like
that's on the website this morning as well.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Kevin Steele, he sort of looks like mini me. He's like a little older, a little thinner, but we're both brilliant defensive minds. No, he's a brilliant defensive mind, and he got a little technical with some of the stuff that he told me, and I just nodded and I said, "Oh, of course I understand what you're talking about," and it seemed like he believed me. So. And my highlight of the entire day wasn't Kevin Steele would be a close second, but my highlight of the entire day was, you guys out there in YouTube verse weren't there, but I was hoping they would give us a roster, which we won't get until Friday. But what they did do was, because apparently media members have no idea what Hurricane players look like without their helmets on, is they gave each player a placard to hold until they sat down, and they put this little placard in front of them, and then the media would say, "Oh, that's who that's Tyler Van Dyke. Okay, we need to talk to him," and that's how you knew who they were. Well, one poor fellow, they forgot to print out his placard, and no media member would come near him. It was like he was a leper. He was alone, all by himself. And luckily, I happened to know who he was. His name is Cam Kinchins. And when I approached him, I said, "Where's your placard?" And he says, "They didn't give me one." I said, "Well, then how do I really know you're Cam Kinchins if you don't have a placard in front of you? I mean, you could tell me you're anybody." We were just having a little good time. And I spoke to him, had a nice one-on-one. I left. I looked back. Nobody else came up to him. So I guess, you need the placard. Memo to the University of Miami staff. Thank God you gave Tyler Van Dyke his placard, or nobody even would have talked to him, right?
Yeah, actually, those placards were good because, a lot of the people that are out at Media Day don't know these kids. We see them all the time. We cover them when they're being recruited and everything. So it's different for us. But a lot of media people are just popping out. They don't know who everybody is. So that was a good thing. But, I just thought Kevin Steele was unbelievable. And,
you guys, look, we can't say everything that he said. He was amazing. He was amazing. You got to read the story. But when I tell you, as a reporter, you think if you get one quote that's quote unquote gold, that's what we call it, right? A quote that's gold. Great. He was like just not, the fireman thing, we're putting out fires and just talking about, well, James Williams isn't a linebacker, but yeah, we're putting him in the box. I felt like, well, isn't that like saying a hamburger without a bun isn't a hamburger? It's still a hamburger. It just doesn't have a bun,
Yes. So, this is going to be a constant debate. There's a bottom line to this. For the Miami defense to be at its best, Cam Kinchins has to be on the field. That's my opinion. I think that's going to end up being the opinion of a lot of people. before we get very deep into this season. He's a very good football player, got great football smarts, and they need him on the field. So either James plays some in the box or Avante doesn't get on the field. And Avante brings a lot to the table, and you want Avante Williams on the field also. So, it makes a lot of sense for them to scheme things up to where James Williams is in the box with relative regularity. But, my favorite quote was, "We're firemen, we're first responders." You don't want the firemen pulling up to your house saying, "Who started this? How did it happen? It looks like it's burning pretty hot. I don't know if I want to fight that." That's not what happens. They run, they put the fire out, they get back on the truck. So whatever the situation is, just push 911 when you need us. We're good.
Yeah, well, the context of that, just for those wondering, because out of context it could seem a little weird. So the context of that was
awesome.
Yeah, it's great. But I said to him, I said, listen, there's some who might say, Rhett Lashley's offense really didn't do the defense any favors the last couple of years by running a high tempo and forcing the defense to play more reps, hypothetically, especially when you're playing another up-tempo offense, if you don't have the depth or whatever. And that's when he said, we're ready, push 911 whenever you want. It doesn't matter, whatever they do, we're here. You call the firemen. It's not they're saying, who started the fire? In other words, that offensive fumble is why we're back on the field after, already playing 70 reps. That's what he's talking about. But yeah, he's the allegories. I mean, he's seen it all. He's done it all. He apparently, I'm guessing this isn't the first time he used the firefighter / push the 911 button thing, because he seemed like it just rolled right off his tongue, like he said it a million times. I never heard anything like it from a defensive coordinator or any coach before said quite like that. But listen, if Kevin Steele was in a room with, you can name 10 other Miami Hurricane coaches from the past or present, I put him right up there with Don Solinger, Art Kehoe. I'm trying to think who are some of my favorite other guys, go-to coaches that I just really enjoyed hearing what they had to say. And he's talking about he's just talking about the terminology. They've got will is now also money, because the money is basically when the will is in a passing situation. And they've got the Mike and the Mac. And the Mac is for the nickel and dime for the Mike is the Mac. And he's got the star, but the star is also the strong side. And, it's like, he doesn't mind just sort of telling you what his terminology is for everything and why he does it that way, and how will a player know what package is supposed to be in. If you're saying Mike, but it's Mac, or Will, but it's money, those are different situations, different scenarios. And I was trying to get him a little bit to talk more about his philosophy, aside from just what he calls things, without giving away too many secrets. And I said, listen, I said, look, Manny Diaz was known as a blitzing defense. He would blitz 60, 70% of the time. I said, what's your defense going to be known for? And he just sort of went off with this multiple stuff. That was the beginning, before he really knew what a great guy I am, and he was willing to talk about pushing 911 buttons. But then what I asked him later on, when we were a little more comfortable and had a little more of a rapport, because this is the first time I really got a chance to talk to him one-on-one a little bit. I asked him about, Clemson and Texas A&M. I said, you've watched their tape, their film, what their coordinators are going to be doing, that sort of thing. Oh, yeah. Can you stop them? He had a great response. And then I said to him, obviously, you can't talk about how you will try to stop them, because obviously he doesn't want them to know. I said, but I really would be interested. You've been so forthcoming with everything. I said, can you talk a little bit how you would stop a different kind of offense? And he says, sure. He says, what offense do you want me to stop? I said, how would you stop Rhett Lashley's offense? And so then he told me how he would stop Rhett Lashley's offense, which I printed in the story. But he's great. Who does that? This guy, the best. I don't know. I don't know. I've never had anyone really since Art or Don who just don't care, man. They'll just tell you, as long as they know it's not a secret that's going to affect the team, they're not hiding stuff just to hide it. They're not doing anything to piss off reporters just to piss off reporters. This guy is just he's just a dude, man. I would hang out at his house.
He was awesome.
I would watch an episode of Bachelorette if that's what he watched on TV, okay? Whatever he wants to do, I'll chill with him and do it. Love this guy.
Hey, don't knock Bachelorette, man. Bachelorette's always pretty interesting. It's one of the shows that you got to spend some time with the wife, and she loves Bachelorette. So, I plop myself down on the couch when she wants to watch Bachelorette. And, it's pretty entertaining. But yeah, so I had finished with Josh Gaddis, and then I looked over and I saw you and Kevin Steele talking, and I popped over there and I listened to some of the conversation. I was like, wow, this is like really awesome stuff. So guys, make sure you watch. We got the video, you got the story. Don't skip that one today. That one's a really good one. And right there with it, I felt really good about the interview that I had with Josh Gaddis. Also very open, talked. He's excited. He sees what we see. Like, he's got some weapons to work with. He has options. And what training camp is going to be about is deciphering through those options and figuring out what's the best thing to do. And what I've been saying the whole offseason, I think, does hold. They got to figure out if they have a number one receiver. I really do believe that there's going to be times this season that they need those guys on the outside to make a big play. I mean, it's inevitable. Like, every game is not going to go perfectly. Keyshawn Smith, Jacoby George, those guys are going to have to be able to make a play down the field. Frank Latson. Those three guys, I mean, somebody's got to step up. Somebody has got to decide, I want to be a dude and go out there and make it happen with meaning, and for this team to maximize its potential, that must take place. And I think Josh Gaddis knows that. Those are the guys he's coaching. It's a continued work in progress, but you're going to see him use as many as 3 tight ends at one time. I think you're going to see him use 4 running backs this year in games and try to maximize the capabilities of all of them. I think Don Chaney, with his work the last few weeks in the offseason workouts, is working his way into the conversation. Not surprising to those of us that have watched him. So there's a lot of pieces out there. And Josh Gaddis knows it's his job to figure out what each guy does best and how he can best utilize it. So you've got those stories on the website today. You've got Mario Cristobal's season opening press conference on the website today, and so much more that I still have to talk about. But I am really excited about this new Life Wallet commercial that has landed at CaneSport headquarters. So I think now is a great time for us to take a quick little break and hear from our friends at Life Wallet.
Hey, Jordan, are you feeling all right?
Hey, you sure you good?
Hey man, how you feeling?
I feel really dizzy.
Do you have Life Wallet?
I do have Life Wallet.
Program activated.
Hey, Jordan, you all right?
Actually, I'm great because I have my Life Wallet.
I mean, think about this. You have athletes from 3 different sports in that commercial. They got an ambulance. They got them to loan them an ambulance to make the commercial. I mean, dude, nobody has NIL like this. This is just genius stuff that John Ruiz has put together. And listen, the kids are making money. They're having fun filming these commercials and stuff. And it's all good, man. It's all good. So anyway, all right, let's get back to Media Day and the news of the day. And so, Matt, one of the stories on the website is what I call like a notebook emptier. And there was so much stuff that came out of Media Day. Like I said, we're going to have something like 30 stories off Media Day on the website between today, tomorrow, and probably Friday. But maybe a few even into the weekend. But we put one on the website this morning that was kind of just like emptying the notebook, a bunch of news and notes that maybe weren't going to be totally massive stories on their own, but individually were very interesting. And why don't you just take a moment and go through that? notebook story and hit on some of the highlights.
It's kind of funny you want me to go through it because for those of you that don't know, we're with a new network now, and you've locked me out of this story, Gary. So hold on, I'm going to take it over right now.
Oh, was I looking at it? Yeah, I was probably
taking it over. You go ahead, take it over. I'm taking it over. Okay, so yeah, basically what I did was, we talked to so many different kids, so I tried to go through our notes and our quotes and et cetera, and get some of the real just sort of quick hitter stuff. And I know people are super interested in the weight room gains. So we have a bunch of the guys talking about, and this is basically reflective of the whole team, right? Because I don't know what's statistically relevant, but whatever is that statistically relevant number where it becomes a deviation from the mean. I think we're at that with a number of guys that we talked to that talked about their progress with their weight inside the weight room, with their squatting and all that different stuff, So
yeah, let me just stop you for a minute, because I want to chime in on this. I was blown away by what I saw with all the players, B, how they spoke about the work they did in the weight room, and C, more significantly than anything, how much confidence getting bigger and stronger has given these kids in terms of their self-esteem and how they feel about themselves. Like there has been productive work done on the minds as well during this offseason. And, some people on the message board yesterday, Matt, were saying, oh, you guys say this stuff every year. And that's not really wrong. I mean, listen, football teams do spend the whole offseason lifting weights and trying to get bigger and stronger. But Matt, as you noted in this content item, and, you're going down the list of guys, and you could go on forever. I mean, you didn't name everybody on the team, but these guys all made measurable gains. And, they've done a lot of work on the minds of these guys during this offseason, and it's really been apparent. And, one thing that really stood out to me is they have two guys on this offensive line, Justice and Logan Sagapolu, who have squatted 700 pounds, Matt. I mean, 700 pounds. And, just seeing their teammates reach those kind of levels seemed to have a carryover effect up and down the O-line room. And I was really impressed by what I was hearing as well as what I was seeing from all these guys.
Yeah. I mean, Cam Kinchins, at least we believe it was Cam Kinchins. We couldn't tell for sure because he had no placard. He said he went from 400 to 515 in the squat, which is ridiculous. And the most ridiculous number I heard, and I can't imagine this is correct, but Trevante Citizen swears that he squatted 600 pounds, which a true freshman running back squatting 600 pounds, I mean,
he's a big guy.
I think Aaron Feld just told him he did that. I mean, look, that's insane explosive power in your lower body. So, and, I'm being facetious. Of course he did that. They're not going to make it up. But my point is, I mean, these numbers are just off the chart. And they're getting there in terms of numbers in the weight room. And, I know fans put a lot of stock in that and think, okay, if the numbers are all right in the weight room, it'll just translate magically onto the field. Well, no, that's not always true. You have to find a happy medium. You can take the greatest weightlifters in the world. They're not great football players, right? So you don't see necessarily the agility and the other things in these numbers. It's like running a 40 time. If you talk to real football experts, of course, they're going to time you in the 40, but they're also going to tell you that it doesn't mean a lot because nobody's running straight ahead 40s in a football game. Nobody, unless, you catch a ball at the 40-yard line and there's nobody in front of you, or at the other 40 or whatever the case is. So there's a lot more to it than just testing numbers. And yeah, it does tell you they're making progress physically. They look better. They look the part. But really on Friday, we'll get our first look in shorts, at least, at how they actually are moving around. Are they understanding things, how they're catching the ball, how they're doing the football things that you need to do to be successful. And that's really the most important to me. Because, every team in the country that's going to be a decent team is going to have these kinds of numbers nowadays. These are the systems that every weight room that's any good is putting in place. And I'm not going to lie to you guys out there. There was several players I talked to yesterday. I said, what was different in this offseason than the previous offseason? And they said there really wasn't that much different. We worked hard, and there was, what they pointed to was there was a few different drills that they did from previously, but they don't think it was like that different in terms of what they were asked to do. It wasn't that much more difficult. Aaron Feld and they said these were going to be the most difficult things they've ever done in their lives. But these aren't, Aaron Feld, you can call him the greatest strength coach in the world, that he does things no one else does. But the truth is, when one guy does something, players from those programs and these coaches get together and talk, and a coach from the program can go somewhere else. They all know what these other strength guys are doing. It's not a mystery. It's not like Aaron Feld has solved the mystery of turning a 100-pound skeleton like Gary Ferman into a 400-pound Hulk who can run the 40 and 4.3. Like, he's got the passion for it. He's got players enjoying it. That's most important. That's what Aaron Feld does. And he's not this crazy lunatic that everybody sees on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. The players say, listen, man, he's nothing like that, but they have fun around him. That's what's important. Everyone wants to think that this guy's this magician. No, it's just that he has a personality where the players are gravitating towards him. They want to be around him. And that's when you get the results. If you have a strength coach, even the previous strength coaches that have been at Miami, if those players had wanted to be in that building, if those players had wanted to be with those strength coaches nonstop, that would have made a big difference. And it wasn't the case in the past, and it is the case now. And that's what I heard from the players. That is the most important thing, because it's not that they did anything that was so different, and oh my gosh, every drill was so different, and oh my gosh, we worked so much harder. That wasn't the case from what I heard. I'm not going to lie to you guys. What I did hear that was different was that they love being around the guy. They love putting the work in, and they're doing the work, and the culture is building, and the culture is what's most important.
It's always about the people. There's no doubt about it. And that's one of the great things that Mario Cristobal did in putting the staff together, is he went out and found himself good people. And those good people are getting results and getting the right relationships going with the kids. And that's going to pay dividends this year. I really think it will. All right, Matt, a couple of other things that I thought were of note. Jalen Rivers, he didn't get to 700 pounds, but he did get to 615 on the squat. But the thing that I thought was interesting is they gave him some off-season reps at center. So they're toying with some different things. And I still don't think that a redshirt year for Ja'Kai Clark is off the table. It's going to depend how things go in training camp. He really does need that 1 year to just train and get his body to a major college dominant offensive line level. He's got good skills and technique, but if they can figure out a way to make that happen, I wouldn't be shocked if he did redshirt this year. But so you have Jalen Rivers taking reps at center.
Not just him, DJ Skate. They are desperately trying to figure out a way, because they got 3 really good guards, 3 decent enough tackles if John Campbell's good enough, and a center that's just not what they want. I'm sorry to say it. I mean, that's just what I feel and what I see. And if they can get one of these guards, or even a right tackle like DJ Scaife, who can be a good center, like, man, now you got your best 5 physical offensive linemen together on the field at the same time.
Can't rule out John Dennis either in that role.
Sorry, John Dennis too. Yeah, do not rule out John Dennis. But they're doing everything they can to unseat Ja'Kai Clark. You hear it from every offensive lineman you talk to. You see it just when you look at some of these guys and them wanting to play, and you look at Ja'Kai versus some of these other guys, and just you can see there's a difference in how they look. There's
a huge physical disparity, yes.
Yeah, so for an offensive line coach who wants to just pound, you look at Ja'Kai and you say finesse, finesse, finesse. We'll see what happens. But my guess on game 1 is that, Ja'Kai Clark might be in trouble in terms of starting job. We'll see.
And John Campbell is going to start the fall out as the starting left tackle, with Zion Nelson out for probably a few weeks of fall camp. I thought that was kind of interesting as well, Matt.
Yeah, but mainly because I thought if Zion was fully healthy, I think they would have given John a chance to win the right tackle job, and then DJ could play inside. You could try to put DJ or Scaife at center if you have to, if they actually can figure out how to snap and do all those calls and all that stuff very well. But that didn't happen. So with Zion out, it does shake things up a bit, because I was talking with John at the media day yesterday, and it sounded like he's really not cross-training at right tackle at all. He's just focused at left tackle. His take is, we don't know when Zion's coming back. I'm the left tackle. That's literally what he said to me. So good for you, John. I don't think that's the case. But listen, if that's how you want to play it, that's fine. I would rather he was getting cross-trained at right tackle, just because I'm not sure DJ's the answer at right tackle. DJ looks good in practice. He always has. He's always looked great at right tackle, everything we see. And then he gets in a game against a really good defensive end, man, and they had to pull him after 2 series last year. And this is the same guy.
Well, you know what? He and I talked about that, and we'll have that interview on the website this week. And he bristled a little bit, which I thought was good. But I think the thing we got to remember, Matt, is that it was against the Will Anderson. I mean, that guy is the best defensive end in America. And, maybe, just maybe, there was a little bit too quick of a trigger there to panic amongst everybody the way that was going. And DJ thinks that he's a better player for it, and he's put that in the past. And he thinks he's ready for a good year. So we'll see. But he does have to prove it. There's no doubt about it. All right, one other thing that's on the website that I'll mention is Zuby Charles spoke with Christopher Johnson yesterday from Miami, from Fort Lauderdale Dillard, and that is a recruitment that we've believed for several weeks was about to turn for Miami, and we've been expecting a Chris Johnson commitment for a while now, and he went to Ole Miss last weekend, and they did a hell of a job getting in this race. And this is now a 2-team battle between Miami and Ole Miss to land Christopher Johnson. And it sounded coming out of the interview that Azubi had with Chris that this could go either way at this point, and that Chris is really weighing Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin did a really good job of showing him how he could utilize him as both a receiver and a running back, and take advantage of his speed, and that's very appealing to Chris. He's very fast, one of the fastest guys in the state of Florida, and so that one's going to be interesting to watch as we go forward. And then there's another recruitment that I think is going on this week that everybody should keep an eye on, and that's offensive lineman Connor Liu. He's going to be announcing, I believe, Friday now, and that's expected to be a Miami or Auburn decision. So we'll have more on that as the week goes on, but just keep that one on your radar as well. So that's going to do it for today for Good Morning CaneSport. We thank you, as always, for starting out your morning with us. Like I said, stay on the website. There is going to be tons of content coming your way. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. Hit your like buttons. Help us out with the YouTube algorithms. And make sure you get your subscription to CaneSport.com if you don't already have it. It's $1 for the first year, part of our deal with joining the On3 network. And our goal is to unite the entire fan base this fall in one spot. And you can help us accomplish that by signing up for the website as well. So for Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.